What's going on, everybody? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're going to take a look at the DC Multiverse Batman Detective Comics number 27, first appearance of Batman. This is the purple-gloved Batman. I believe there's a blue-gloved variant of this. It's the, I believe, the Platinum Edition. This is the regular edition, which this is the one I wanted. The blue gloves, I think, were only actually I think an ink error in the comic. He comes with six hands, excuse me. I almost said 6 sets of hands, which that would have been 12 hands. But he comes with 6 hands total, and he comes with a wrench, which he actually used, I think, in this comic to break open a window, and the wrench wasn't even blue, it was white. So I'm not really sure why it was super important for them to release him with the wrench, but there you go. We'll do some swivel in here as I get my little turntable going there, and we'll back up just a hair. That's a little bit, just a little. But you can see Detective Comics number 27 right there. First appearance of Batman, like I said, May 1939. And I've always liked the first appearance look for him. I like the cowl. It's one of my favorite cowls. And I like the fact that they're kind of pointy-eared but angled outward, like a true bat's ear would, as opposed to those, you know, a lot of people like the short ears. I always liked kind of like a happy medium between the short and the long ears. But if I have to pick long or short, I'm going to go with long, just because I think it aesthetically looks more intimidating, I think. But it says Detective Comics number 27, Batman, on the side of the box. On the other side, just says Batman right there. And as I said, as I alluded to before, you got your QR code on the side. You've got your Detective Comics cover right there. Good old 10 cents on the back for that cover. But let's get Batman opened up and we'll take a closer look at him. Okay, and we're back with Batman out of packaging, and as you can see, he's got all of his accessories here. He's got his card right here, which depicts the Batman, or Detectives, not Batman, but Detective Comics number 27. We've got the gripping hands right there. We've got the blue wrench in the center, and then on the other side, we've got the flat palmed hands. He comes with his fist hands already plugged in. I'm probably going to leave him with his fist hands on just because I just like the aesthetics of, you know, Batman likes to punch people. It just makes more sense that way. But we'll take a look at everything. I think the shining bright point of this is the cape. The cape is a much thicker, durable, almost like a nylon, like a thicker nylon. It is a wired cape on top of that. So you see all these companies, Hasbro, Marvel Legends, not doing wired capes. And then you see this for the same price. And you're like, well, it comes with accessories and a cloth cape. And they're using more plastic because these are taller figures than a Marvel Legend. There's no reason why Marvel Legends can't start using cloth capes. There's no excuse at this point. To me, every Batman figure should come with a cape, and to me, any character with a cape should come with a cloth cape at this stage of the game for the prices that we're paying now. But anyway, regardless, the head sculpt and the cape, I think, are the bright point of the figure. It's not 100% the true first appearance head sculpt for him. I think it's more of, and let me just stop my little turntable once it comes back around. It's not the true rendition of, you know, the first appearance look for him, but I think it's a nice sculpt regardless. I think it gives him a little bit more of a modern look, a modern take, almost like what Mezco did with their first appearance. As I bumped the camera, sorry about that. But just taking a look at the figure here, let me just bring him up close and personal really quick. The figure itself, I think, looks really good. The face sculpt, very nicely done. Let me zoom in there, too. Face sculpt is very nicely done. Very simple. He's got whited out eyes. He's got that kind of grimace or that scowl look on his face. He does have the painted on bat logo. This is a new upper torso chest piece. Some of these pieces are reused. I'm not 100% familiar with how many are being reused. I think it's Batman Year 2 pieces mixed with a new upper torso, and I don't know if the arms are the same as the Batman Year 2 because I don't own that figure, but there are new pieces, and that's one of them is the chest, but the bat symbol is painted on. Now, the bat symbol also fluctuates in Detective Comics number 27 quite a bit. It goes from thick to skinny to whatever. It's constant inconsistencies with early Batman depictions. Like I said, blue gloves, and we've got purple gloves, and then it's all over the place. So, but I think it looks good. I think it's a nice happy medium for what it is. And like I said, the head sculpt is kind of like a nice classic look with a little bit of a modern uptake. I quite like it. It doesn't have to be true, but it's true enough, I think. This might be actually one of my favorite Batman cowl designs or looks. And then we've got the crotch piece, which this is just a diaper piece that we've seen with a lot of other Batman figures with a newly sculpted belt right there. So no other Batman, I don't believe, has this belt other than the variant of this figure, which is blue gloved, and that's from the Platinum edition. The boots are very plain, but they are sculpted, which are very nice. And I'm not sure if they're reused from Batman Year 2. They might be. I'm not 100% sure on that. And just taking a look, because I don't own Batman or Detective Comics number 27. It's a very sought-after comic. I don't have a reissue or anything like that. So I just kind of go off of online representation. But I think the boots look pretty good. Everything's pretty solid. It comes with a display stand also. We all know the typical DC display stand. But he can stand just fine. I mean, you might have to lean him forward just a hair, just a little bit, but it's not too bad. And also, this literally took me, I don't know, 10 seconds to stand him without the stand. You can stand him with the stand too. I know a lot of people are either or, but I prefer my figures to do what they're supposed to do, which is stand on their own. That's kind of the most basic thing that you can make an action figure do, which is just to be able to stand. So, other than that, like I said, as far as the other accessories go, he does come with this blue wrench, which he can't really hold because he's got fist hands, he's got flat hands, which I'm not sure what the flat hands are really going to be used for. And then he's got these like weird, like, I'm going to choke the shit out of you hands or grabbing hands. And he can't really hold, I mean, he can kind of hold the wrench, but it doesn't look very natural. I've never held a wrench like this in my life. So, I mean, it does the job, I guess, but it just looks weird. Like, they should have just given him regular gripping hands or just not included this wrench at all. I feel like it's unnecessary anyway. But he can hold it, and it's pretty much the same thing on both hands. And you can almost actually see in the hand a little bit of a flat groove right there for the wrench to kind of fit into those two lower fingers, where the upper fingers just kind of hold it in place. So it does pass the shake test. It doesn't fall out, but it just looks weird. Really, really weird. The flat hands are very gloved. There's a very significant sculpt into that glove feature. And I mean, especially on the other side. So I'm not sure if these were used for another figure, possibly. I'm not sure if the fist hands or the gripping hands were as well. These might be a new sculpt. I'm not 100% sure on that. Let me know in the comments below. I don't mind the constructive criticism. But everything just pegs right onto the hands. No issue there. Here is the card. Really quick look at the card. It says Detective Comics number 27, made 1939. And then it gives the depiction of the cover, flipping it around to the back. There's the little data filing card. If you want to pause it and read it, you can. And then moving on, we got the display stand, which says DC on it. And I gotta say, like I said, I just kind of took this guy out of package. I didn't have too much time to kind of play around with him, so let's see what we can do here. Just kind of playing around. And like I said, this is a wired cape. Now, the wire runs from underneath the cowl all the way down, and underneath the cowl and all the way down over here. It does not run through the spines or anything. Those are just folds in the cape. Those are not wired by any means. So if you wanted to get like a swooshing effect for Batman, and let's see what we can do here for a nice big swooshing effect. And we also do have pinned legs, which we all know McFarlane's kind of still a little bit in the Stone Age when it comes to pinned stuff, but it doesn't really bother me too much because, you know, pinned stuff is still fine. It's still toy. It's still a toy at the end of the day. It doesn't like ruin the figure for me because I can still get kind of past those aesthetics. But I mean, the wire on it is very nicely done. It's not too chintzy of a wire. I mean, I've seen better wires in my day, but for a $22 figure is what I got it from or for on Amazon. It's not too bad. I do wish that Todd would start updating the ankles on some of these figures because sometimes it's a little bit funky how the ball joints don't really work that well. I mean, everybody at this stage, including secondary parties, have a regular ankle pivot with a peg going into the foot and not this ball joint. I just don't like ball jointed anything. Get rid of it. It's a dead technology. Just stop with the ball joints. Get rid of them. I hate them. I don't like toe joints either. That's just me. I know Todd pretty much puts that into the majority of his figures. So I personally don't like toe joints. I don't think that they need to be with every single figure. But if it's a Batman figure, you want him to be as agile as possible. So you can go with that. But he'll stand. You just kind of have to work with the ankles a little bit more just because they are ball jointed. It's like a ball joint and a swivel. It's two terrible things that are just so ancient as far as action figure engineering at this point. I do have to say he's a little bit on the bulkier side, just like his thickness as far as not just how the figure feels, but like his look. He does look a lot like he's burlier, you know, and I kind of actually like it a little bit. Let's see if we can get him into some nice heroic looking up at the sky pose. He's on definitely got a ball jointed head too, which, you know, not my favorite. Just going to be honest with you guys, not my favorite thing for neck joints. I prefer if you're going to do a ball joint, do a hinge too, so we can really get a heroic pose looking upward at the sky, or if we're diving down, we can get them in that beautiful pose. But I think it does the job. I think it does the job at the end of the day. These are just, I guess, nitpicks that I would like to improve on the figure. Maybe some pinless joints just to clean the figure up a little bit. But it is a nicely sculpted figure. One more thing I would like to improve on is when you have a gloved character. Now, I've had a few of these from McFarlane Toys where they'll have the gloves in or they'll have hands in like Superman figures, and then they don't paint that ball joint that plugs into the hand, the peg joint. They won't paint that. And it looks kind of like the hands are floating, and it doesn't look as natural as if the hands sat more flush with just a peg sticking out of the arm. It just looks a little bit off. It looks like he's not wearing gloves. It looks like he's got pegged in hands is what he looks like. It looks very toyetic. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's this right here, how that's not painted. At least have it painted or have the mold injected with purple so it at least matches the glove, it just looks awkward that way. And they did that with what was it? I did it with a couple Superman figures where the flesh colored is just the hand, and then they painted the ball joint or the injected mold plastic. It's like blue, so it just looks like he's got gloved hands that are flesh colored. It doesn't look right. And like Superman's hand should look more like this, with the flesh tone looking like it's going into a suit. And this is a very simplistic design. This is actually from the same company. It's from McFarlane. But the hands look a lot more natural that way with just a painted line. Or even this would work perfectly, like NECA does. Just put a peg in the hand and have the hole be the arm, and you can just do that from there. Sorry, I have dog hair. I have 4 dogs. What do you want me to do? That would work better. It looks a lot more natural than... my God. Looks a lot more natural than this. It just doesn't look good. When you compare the two, it looks... ugh. I just don't like the way that looks. It looks like hot shit. Anyway, but that's pretty much it. Let's get to articulation really quick. Let's not waste any more time. The head can rotate. It is a new mold, so it can rotate and look side to side. It can't really look up all that well. That's pretty much neutral right there, and that's all he can look up. But it can look down a lot. And it doesn't break up the sculpt either, which is good. So he can really look down at a foe. Maybe he just like knocks somebody out and he's just staring at him. Let's see if you can tilt. There are no jive turkeys, no gobbles. Sorry about that. Arms go up about that far. They go down. It is on a a butterfly joint. It's on a butterfly joint, but the butterfly actually moves up and down more so than in and out, or back and forth, I should say, not in and out, back and forth. It does wiggle a little bit, but it's the typical McFarlane kind of, you get a little bit of movement there for the arms. He does have a bicep swivel, a double jointed pinned arm. He does have a swivel at the wrist, and he does have a hinge joint and a ball peg swivel. Ugh, I hate this. You can rotate, it can go up and down, and then rotate the ball joint again, and they can go back and forth. I just, get rid of this shit. I can't stand it. He can crunch back about that far. He can crunch forward about that far. He can pivot side to side. He can swivel up top at the diaphragm, and he can swivel at the waist. Just kind of have to hold these two pieces together because they're separate pieces. And then to line them back up, you just kind of simply want to work with it. He can do the splits very well. You need Batman to do some kicks and stuff like that. Legs go forward, legs go back. He does have a little bit of a swivel, a little bit of upper thigh swivel. Double jointed knees right there. He does not have a boot swivel, but he can pointy toe. He can pointy heel. He does kind of have an ankle pivot. You kind of have to move the ball joint again, swivel, same thing as the wrists. And then he's got a toe joint and 2 peg holes and a partridge in a pear tree. Here is the Phantom. To put those guys together. Same era, pretty much almost. And let me back up just a hair. Just a little bit. There we go. There we go with a NECA figure right there. Beautiful figure. I love it. Next up, we'll go with a Toy Biz-esque figure. We'll go with Savage Dragon here. Still another fun figure I always find myself kind of playing around with. And then we'll do a classifieds figure. We'll do Obligatory Duke. There you go. For Obligatory Duke. And then moving on, we've got the Walmart exclusive, I believe. Mandalorian with the cloth cape. And then next up, we've got another... Wait, we're leaning a little bit. Fix them. We've got Indiana Jones. There we go with that. And then we'll bust out the Chun-Li. Okie doke. Next up, we'll get to this Hulkamania time, baby. Get Hulk Hogan in there. A little bit taller. Not as tall, though. And, you know, you can't have Batman, even though this is before this got to have Robin in there, too. Robin is standing a little bit more forward than Batman. There we go. There you go. And I would say that this is halfway decent. Batman's definitely taller, and he's actually, I guess he's kind of leaning forward a little bit. I can readjust his legs. There. Now he's standing a little bit more true. So as far as height goes, you could, if you wanted to put these two together like that, you could. Okay, then we'll do a Valiverse figure with some upgrades from Gridiron. Next, we can do the Jada Toys Invisible Man. And because I love this figure so much, we'll do the Ultimate Cap. There you go. You can kind of see it's a little bit more stylized for Mezco, but this is one of my favorite designs from Mezco, as far as that's concerned. And then my absolute favorite, one of my favorite Batman figures of all time, with the little bit of modding I did, which is not really crazy modding. I just gave him some black custom trunks I got off of eBay. I don't know the seller, so if you guys are messaging me, I don't remember the seller. I don't even think he's in my buying history. It was from years ago. But I'm sure you can find them if you look up Mezco custom trunks. But there it is. First appearance Mezco Batman is what I pretty much just call him at this stage. But it's one of my absolute favorite figures in my action figure collection. So there it is. And I love both head sculpts, I think, for different reasons. Obviously, you know, I think I like this head sculpt a lot better, but this one still looks really good, I think. Okay, so for my final thoughts on the Detective Comics number 27 Batman edition from DC McFarlane Multiverse, I think this is a solid figure. It's not necessarily the true version, like I said in the beginning of the film, but I still think this is a really nice look for Batman. If you're remotely into the first appearance look, then I would say this is a must get for you. If not, this is completely passable. It is reusing some older parts. I think it is from Batman Year 2 body, but it does have that new upper torso, which I think actually helps the arms stay in a lot easier, as opposed to, I want to say, the Three Jokers Batman, which the arms would constantly pop off of that figure, and it drove me nuts. The head sculpt on this, I think, is the bright, shining part of the figure, and that wired cape really does help hold a pose beautifully. Even if the wired cape does not have spines for the folds, I don't think it matters as long as they have that nice, thick, durable wire going throughout the edges of the cape. I think I mean, as you can see here, it's holding a pose very nicely. I like the new sculpted belt. There's not too many crazy things that he comes with. Like I said, the wrench, which is a niche kind of thing that you're probably going to have him posed with, comes with the gripping hands and comes with the punching hands, and then the flat hands, which I probably won't be using the flat hands too much at all, just because they look kind of funky, almost like he's just like kind of resting his hand on his thigh. It almost looks like a crime scene, like these would be found at a crime scene, or they're like, he's like asking for, you know, $1 or something, like, please, sir, may I have $1? You know, the display stand, it's the typical McFarlane display stand. It doesn't really fit both feet on there unless he's kind of standing kind of awkwardly. So I just don't use those. They kind of pile up, and I use them for other figures that don't stand at all. But, you know, I think this is a solid figure. I don't think it's a must get. He was sold out for a little while on the McFarlane website, and then he kind of popped up on Amazon for $22.99. And I think that's the proper price here. I don't think he's a $25 figure. I don't think he's a $30, $40, or $50 figure for whatever he's going for. Weird prices up and down, left and right. This is the version I wanted. I'm going to pass on the blue gloved version just because that was very fleeting. But I'm pretty happy with this. I love the first appearance Batman, and he's going to fit perfectly on my shelf with the rest of them. So, but that's pretty much it for me. What would I give this? Would I give it a 2 thumbs up? I'll give it a 1 thumb up and an okay. It's an okay figure. I think it's, solid. The cape and the head sculpt really make the figure. I can't emphasize that enough. The cape especially. If that was a plastic cape, this probably would get a 1 thumb up, and that would be the end of it. But the cape, I think, saves the day. So I'll give it a 1 thumb up and an okay. I still think it's a good, solid purchase for the retail price, and that's pretty much it. But be sure to let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and be sure to give the video a like if you liked the video. Give it a like just for me. If you could do that for me, that would help the channel grow. And leave a comment down below. Like, did you like the figure? Do you not like the review? Let me know what I could do better. But let me know in the comments below. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. And I'll see you guys on the flip side.